What's up with Luis Castillo?
Can it again just be a whole it's early thing? I look, he has not looked sharp in his 2 starts. To be fair, he looked pretty good in his first 3 innings against the Guardians this past week. It just got away from him in the 4th inning. He's getting hit too hard. That's what it is. He's not walking guys. He still has the strikeout stuff. He's just getting hit way too hard. Like, his sinker has not fared well so far, and he's given up some home runs. Now, again, let me say this. I think Luis Castillo is going to be perfectly fine. I think Luis Castillo, when it's all said and done, is probably finishing top 10 in AL Cy Young voting. But through 2 starts, yes, he has given up a few hard hit balls, some that have led to home runs.
I don't think I'm too worried about this. I don't. There's not too much. None of the underlying numbers suggest that something is extremely wrong here. His fastball's down a whole mile an hour. There, you're going to find one thing: if the small sample velo is down, that could rise up when the weather warms up, and he has a few starts where he's 96, 98, and all of a sudden that 95.5 jumps all the way back up to 96.5 where he was last season. That won't be a problem. There's another slightly concerning thing where Fangraphs hasn't been a huge fan of his stuff so far. He's only registered overall a 90 stuff plus in all of his pitches combined so far. Not a fantastic number, though Castillo last year was at a 96 overall and still managed to finish pretty high in the Cy Young voting. So that overall, that's not it. I'm chalking Luis Castillo's struggle early to a sample of 2 things. Don't give up home runs, which for every single starter is the number one thing you're trying to prevent. Do not give up home runs. And Luis Castillo in 2 starts has given up 2 home runs. If he gives up a home run every single start of the season, he's probably not going to have a very good season, to be honest. He won't. The other one is going to relate to our second storyline, which is the defense behind him has been not good. It has not helped him out at all. It has not it has not bailed him out of situations. It has not given him confidence when the ball is in play that an out is going to be recorded behind him. And the sequencing just kind of off in his first 2 starts as well. So like a whole number of things that lead me to really just not be all that worried. Like, think about this on his expected stats. He's given up a 350 batting average so far, 249 expected batting. Right? That tells you a lot. He's given up a 600 slugging percentage so far, and yet his expected slugging against is 372. That tells me some balls should probably be caught. I think that's what that's telling me right there.
And his xFIP and his xERA are way lower than what his FIP and ERA are right now. One, because this is what happens early on. Like, not enough of a sample size will lead to basic counting stats like ERA inflating. And it shows that, yes, there's been some bad luck, and we'll save all the talk about the defense for our second segment. But for everybody out there that's saying things like, well, Castillo's clearly the 3rd best starter now, and they're saying it with a very negative connotation. They're not saying, oh, this trio of stud arms can be ranked in one way or another. They're saying it in a sense of like, oh, no, he's taken a massive step back. We should be concerned. No, you should not be concerned. Not only is Luis Castillo, not only does he not usually thrive in the month of April. Like, April's not usually his month. The guy thrives, 1, in warmer weather, and 2, as the season goes on. So give him a little bit of time. 2 is it's been 2 starts, and he was cruising in the second start. He had 1 inning get away from him, and things started to kind of spiral. I think the command can be a little bit better. His command was a little bit all over the place in that last start. He wasn't spotting up his pitches the way he usually does, especially as the start rolled on once you got to that 4th inning. But no, let's chill out, guys. What do you keep saying about the offense, TJ? You say, let's start worrying in June. Well, let's say with Luis Castillo, if he's 8 starts into the year and every single start has looked like how the first 2 have looked, then we can start to have a conversation. Through 2 outings, I'm not doing this.
And the second home run he gave up to Bo Naylor, which really kind of certainly didn't help his start against Cleveland. That was not a bad pitch. I mean, it was 96 in off the plate, and Bo Naylor put it in the seats. Are we faulting Castillo for that? He should have thrown a better pitch. It wasn't a strike.
Yeah.
But it's not like he left 94 middle. No, the pitch to Devers, you could probably have a better argument. It was still more of a borderline pitch, but that one was more in the strike zone, and that was up in the hitting zone. The one that Bo Naylor was certainly not. Like, I sequenced it out. Like, that Bo Naylor home run came after a Mitch Haniger error. The Mitch Haniger error did not directly relate to that home run happening, but it certainly didn't help the course of the inning. And then against Boston, Lyle, uh, the other two runs that came across for Luis Castillo was a Josh Rojas throwing error and a poorly positioned Jorge Polanco on both other runs. And you're like, that's Castillo's fault. Is it Castillo's fault? Those are two balls hit on the infield that should be outs. And runs ended up scoring anyways.
All this to be said, if you want to nitpick on Luis Castillo through 2 outings, sure, he can give up a couple less home runs, and he can spot up his pitches a little bit better. His command has been a little bit suspect through 2 starts. Not like, oh, I have all of a sudden like started to develop serious concerns and personal worries about Luis Castillo's season. No, let me say it again. I'm not doing that. If you want to nitpick where he can get better through 2 starts, sure. But he's going to be totally fine. Again, the expected numbers say that. I think we know his track record says that. Let's just give him some time to figure it out.
You want the ultimate calming stat? If he didn't give up either of those 2 home runs, his ERA would be sub-3 right now.
So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Don't give up home runs, kids. They're bad.
And I'm sure you can use that number for a lot of pitchers and say, oh, well, if he didn't give up these home runs, his ERA would be X or his ERA would be Y. But point being, I think Luis Castillo, who is a multi-time All-Star, signed to a big contract, is the ace of this rotation for a reason, is not just going to fall off the face of the earth. Like his profile and his track record are way too good to do that. And I think he's going to turn it around here very, very soon. So
yeah, I think so too.